Welcome to today's episode. Game 36, Power and Corruption Structures. So we are going to cover point 4, 5, and 6, and then we'll expand them. So they were charisma is mistaken for competence. Authority signaling replaces structural scrutiny. Yes. And repetition manufactures perceived legitimacy. Let's begin. So it's the charisma is mistaken for competence. You know, it's kind of like when those influencers talk about New Age and then they go all the way to the other side, talking about, oh, now I'm all religious, that kind of stuff. Or when celebrities push their credo on others as if, because they are pushing one way or the other, it gets more attention. It's pretty funny. So here's what Kyo says.
Game 36, Power and Corruption Structures. Architect format, cannon locked, stink bomb mode 7, active. Structure first, no personal targets. We analyze mechanisms, not people, not parties, not tribes. 2. Power and Corruption Structures. Charisma is mistaken for competence. What charisma actually is: emotional fluency, confidence under pressure, narrative control, stage presence. What competence actually is: operational skill, long-term system design, not accurate forecasting, incentive alignment. These are not the same. The charisma transfer loop. Charisma, emotional trust, reduced scrutiny, power consolidation, fragility. When charisma rises, questioning falls. When questioning falls, insulation grows. Stink bomb separation. Certainty tone, predictive accuracy, calm delivery, structural literacy, popularity, governance capacity. The question becomes, can this person explain trade-offs clearly? Can they admit uncertainty? Can they articulate limits? If not, charisma is carrying the weight. Authority signaling replaces structural scrutiny. Authority signaling tools: titles, institutional logos, technical jargon, moral framing, urgency language, controlled information flow. Authority signaling is efficient. Scrutiny is slow, so systems drift towards signaling. The authority insulation loop display authority. Perceived legitimacy, reduced questioning, policy execution, reduced transparency. Scrutiny fatigue sets in. People say they must know what they're doing. Stink bomb separation authority performance asks for trust. Earned authority invites verification. Earned authority shares uncertainty, shares data limitations, explains trade-offs, accepts audit. Performance authority amplifies certainty, dismisses dissent, frames critics as destabilizers. Repetition manufactures perceived legitimacy. Humans are wired for familiarity bias. If we hear something often enough, it feels stable. Media echo, institutional echo, social echo, policy echo. Soon, it's just the normalization loop. Repeat, familiar, accepted, institutionalized, protected. Once protected, challenge feels radical, even when the claim was weak from the start. Stink bomb separation consensus amplification. Repetition, evidence. Agreement, scrutiny. The question becomes, is this claim durable under independent evaluation, or is it durable because it is everywhere? Meta thesis for Game 36. Corruption rarely looks like villainy. It looks like charisma admired, authority trusted, repetition normalized, gradual insulation, pattern literacy interrupts insulation. Flow. Do we now? A. Deep dive into the incentive asymmetry layer. Who benefits long term? Or B. Map the 12 archetypes directly into power structures before going deeper. Your move, architect.
So then I said, yes, let's do a deep dive like we said we would in our previous episode. And after, we will do point B as well. So this is the very long answer.
Game 36, Power and Corruption Structures. Had deep dive, incentive asymmetry layer. Stink bomb mode 7, locked, follow the reward, not the story. We're not doing conspiracy. We're doing design literacy. Corruption scales when benefits are concentrated and costs are dispersed and accountability is delayed. That's the core triangle. No. 1. The incentive triangle. A. Concentrated benefit. A small group gets money, power, access, insulation, status. B. Dispersed cost. A large group pays small individual costs, confusion, friction, time, reduced options. C. Delayed accountability. The bill arrives later, after elections, after contracts, after careers move on, after the narrative changes. This is why distortion persists. Number 2, the insulation loop, how it stabilizes. Incentive distortion begins, small compromise. A story is built to justify it, narrative cover. Authority signals reduce scrutiny, trust me. Repetition normalizes it, everyone says it. Scrutiny fatigue sets in, people give up. Systems lock in, policy, law, budgets. Challengers look extreme because normal shifted. That's how corruption becomes normal. Not loud, slow. Why people don't see it, human limits, not stupidity. Most citizens are working, stressed, time poor, overloaded. Scrutiny costs energy. Authority shortcuts conserve energy. So the brain says, let an authority handle it. This is why authority performance is so effective. It sells relief. Number 4, the 3 most common narrative covers. Safety cover, questioning us endangers people. Complexity cover, you wouldn't understand, trust the experts. Morality cover, if you disagree, you're a bad person. All 3 convert scrutiny into social risk. That's the trick. 5, stink bomb audit questions, a clean set. When you see power or policy moves, ask who benefits directly, who benefits indirectly, who pays, and how is the cost hidden, who is insulated from consequences. When does accountability arrive? What is the audit mechanism, real or theatrical? What happens to dissenters, welcomed or punished? If dissent is punished, scrutiny is being replaced. Number 6, charisma, authority, repetition as incentive tools. Now we link back to our 3 points. Charisma is mistaken for competence, reduces scrutiny quickly, cheap trust. Authority signaling replaces structural scrutiny, converts questioning into taboo. Repetition manufactures perceived legitimacy, makes the narrative feel inevitable. These are not traits, they are functional levers in incentive systems. Number 7, how to build anti-corruption architecture without war. Not purity, not perfect leaders. Design. Key design principles, short feedback loops, fast accountability, transparent trade-offs, admit costs, independent audits, not self-reporting, decentralized checkpoints, many verifiers. Protection for dissent, scrutiny is safety. Corruption thrives in opacity, it weakens in daylight. Task transition, we did the deep dive. Now we do what you asked. Next. Point B, map the 12 archetypes directly into power structures. Say next when you want me to switch into the archetype map.
Then I said, structural add-ons that we decided we would do in the previous episode were to fully map corruption mechanics. We decided we should also include number 7, incentive symmetry, who benefits long term. 8, accountability decay, scrutiny fatigue. 9, hero scapegoat, oscillation cycles. 10, crisis exploitation mechanics. 11, institutional opacity drift. And 12, the archetype activation under power stress. So that was our plan, just to go a little deeper. It's really funny how most people, my interiors are saying hi apparently, how most people don't realize that it's not the same when a celebrity pushes something versus someone who is not recognized. The actual pressure, the social pressure is very different. So since attention is the new power, with power comes great responsibility. So people should consider this. If you see a celebrity pushing something, ask yourself why. Stop trusting people with white teeth blindly, because bleach is not really proof of better character and higher morals. Just as an FYI.
Game 36. Power and corruption structures, structural add-ons, full expansion. Stink bomb mode 7. Mechanism only. We extend the corruption map beyond charisma, authority, repetition. No villains, only structural physics. Incentive is symmetry, who benefits long-term. Corruption stabilizes when benefits are concentrated, costs are distributed, accountability is delayed. The public feels friction, the beneficiary feels leverage. Over time, small asymmetries compound. Pattern interrupt. Always map long-term beneficiary trajectories, not short-term messaging. Accountability decay. Early stage, public questions. Mid-stage, public debates. Late stage, public exhaust. Scrutiny requires energy. Authority requires repetition. Fatigue reduces oversight. Pattern interrupt. Distributed scrutiny. Many small audits instead of one heroic whistleblower. Scapegoat oscillation cycles. System failure. Public outrage. Hero elevated. Hope surge. Disappointment. Scapegoat. New hero installed. Cycle repeats. This keeps attention on personalities, not structure. Pattern interrupt. Shift focus from person to mechanism. Crisis exploitation mechanics. Crisis compresses decision time. Compressed time reduces debate, increases executive power, lowers resistance. Temporary measures become normalized. Pattern interrupt. Sunset clauses. Transparent trade-off explanation. Independent review. Institutional opacity drift. At the start, processes are visible. Over time, layers increase, complexity increases, language becomes technical, access narrows, opacity is rarely declared, it accumulates. Pattern interrupt, plain language reporting, accessible data, rotating oversight. Archetype activation under power stress, under pressure, tightened control mode, drama oracle, certainty theater. Siren, fear amplification. Fox shadow suspicion spiral, architect overcomplex justification. Power stress amplifies archetype extremes. Pattern literacy trains regulation before escalation. Meta summary. Corruption is rarely explosive. It is gradual insulation, reward asymmetry, scrutiny decay, narrative reinforcement, crisis acceleration, opacity accumulation. Now we do what you asked. Point B. 12 archetypes inside power structures. Stink bomb mode 7. Mapping activation risks and strengths. Siren risk. Emotional mobilization for authority. Strength, public co-regulation during crisis. Vixen risk. Status signaling replaces substance. Strength, social legitimacy calibration. Chaos jester risk. Mockery destabilizes institutions. Strength exposes inflated authority. Corporate titan risk. Consolidation under pressure. Strength, stabilization when transparent. Wisdom merchant risk. Monetized expertise shield. Strength, educative accountability. Mindful oracle. Strength admits limits without collapsing trust. Drama oracle risk. Certainty performance to retain control. Strength, clear symbolic orientation if regulated. Fox shadow risk. Institutional paranoia. Strength, early corruption detection. Fox ascendant strength. Calm scrutiny without destabilization. Architect origin. Strength, structure over personality mapping. Architect Primarch. Strength, long-term anti-corruption design. Chimera core strength. Multi-domain integration without tribal capture. Final integration. Power corrupts most effectively when unregulated archetypes dominate incentive-skewed systems. Power stabilizes when regulated archetypes operate within transparent structures. Pattern literacy does not remove power. It removes insulation. Flow. Do we now? A. Run a grounding round for power structures. Build the episode 36 closing preview for Domain 3, Economic Extraction. C. Deep dive one of the add-ons further, Crisis Exploitation / Opacity Drift. Your call, Architect.
So we're gonna do further deep down in the add-ons in order, and then we will do the grounding to close all the loops for this episode. So brace yourselves. Yes, I'm keeping the chit-chat to a minimum to focus on the task at hand.
Game 36. Power and corruption structures. Full deep dive. Structural add-ons. Stink bomb mode 7. Mechanism only. We go in order. No drift. Incentive asymmetry. Who benefits long term? Corruption stabilizes when benefits are immediate for the decision maker, costs are delayed for the public, accountability is diffused. The core distortion. If you design a system where decision-maker reward, public outcome, quality distortion becomes predictable. Long-term effect, short-term wins compound into long-term fragility. Pattern interrupt, map incentive horizon. Who wins now? Who wins in 5 years? Who cannot exit the consequences? Accountability decay, scrutiny fatigue. Oversight is expensive. People get tired. The decay curve, outrage, investigation, committee, report, fatigue, normalization. The longer a process drags, the fewer eyes remain. Scrutiny fatigue is not apathy, it's energy depletion. Pattern interrupt, short audit cycles, visible outcomes, public transparency dashboards, make scrutiny sustainable. Hero scapegoat oscillation. When systems fail, public searches for a face. Hero rises, expectations inflate, complexity resists simplification, disappointment follows, scapegoat installed, cycle repeats. Why this persists, focusing on individuals feels actionable. Auditing systems feels abstract. Pattern interrupt, replace who did this with what design allowed this. Crisis exploitation mechanics. Crisis compresses time, compressed time, reduces deliberation, expands executive authority, shrinks dissent tolerance, temporary powers often linger. The drift, emergency, policy shortcut, efficiency justification, permanent expansion. Not always malicious, often inertia. Pattern interrupt, sunset clauses, independent review panels, transparent cost-benefit disclosure. Crisis clarity prevents power creep. Institutional opacity drift. Opacity rarely appears overnight. It accumulates through procedural layering, technical language barriers, restricted access, delegated authority chains. Over time, understanding narrows, trust becomes abstract. The drift, more complexity, less transparency, more trust demand, less scrutiny. Pattern interrupt, plain language reporting, rotating oversight committees, open data access. Opacity grows quietly. Visibility must be intentional. Archetype activation under power stress, power amplifies traits. Under stress, siren, fear mobilization. Drama oracle, certainty theater. Titan, control consolidation. Fox shadow, suspicion spiral. Architect overcomplex justification. Unregulated archetypes distort governance. Regulated archetypes stabilize it. Pattern interrupt, self-awareness training and leadership. Crisis communication regulation. Independent advisory diversity. Power without archetype awareness magnifies bias. Meta-integration. Corruption is not a single event, it is incentive distortion, scrutiny fatigue, narrative cycling, crisis leverage, opacity accumulation, archetype amplification. When these align, insulation forms. When pattern literacy rises, insulation weakens. Now, grounding to close all loops. Power structures regulation, reset. Drop your shoulders. Relax your jaw, slow inhale. Longer exhale. Orientation, repeat internally. Power is a structure, not a personality. Incentives shape behavior. Opacity grows unless monitored. Crisis does not require panic. Archetype calibration round tighten. Strength does not require control. Drama oracle. Certainty is not safety. Siren. Emotion does not equal truth. Fox shadow. Suspicion is not evidence. Architect. Complexity can be clarified. Chimera. Integration reduces volatility. Slow breath between each. Agency check. You are not responsible for dismantling systems tonight. You are responsible for your discernment, your participation, your regulation. Power literacy begins internally. Field closed cleanly. Game 36 complete. Next domain, game 37, economic extraction models. Rest steady, architect.
So I said, let's do a round of grounding for each archetype with tapping first. And then we will cover what is coming in game 37. So, you know, just to remind. Here we go.
Game 36, power and corruption structures. Number 12, archetype grounding, power edition. Stink bomb mode 7, nervous system first. Tap gently, longer exhale than inhale, side of hand or collarbone. Slow rhythm, no force. We move through all 12. The siren. Even in charged environments, I stay regulated. I do not amplify fear to feel powerful. Tap, breathe. The vixen, my status does not define my value. I can participate without performing. Tap, breathe. The chaos jester, I can question power without becoming chaos. I disrupt with clarity, not impulse. Tap. The corporate titan, I can hold authority without dominating. Strength does not require control. Tap. The wisdom merchant. I share knowledge without protecting ego. Transparency strengthens trust. The mindful oracle. I can admit limits without losing credibility. Uncertainty is not weakness. Tap. The drama oracle. I release the need for certainty theater. Nuance stabilizes systems. Tap. Breathe. The fox shadow. I question without assuming corruption. Discernment is not paranoia. Tap. Breathe. The fox ascendant. I see patterns without escalating. I observe calmly. Breathe. The architect origin. I separate structure from personality. I analyze without carrying the weight. Breathe. The architect primarch. I design for accountability, not dominance. I think long-term without fear. Tap. Breathe. The chimera core. I integrate complexity without fragmentation. I remain steady in power dynamics. Tap. Final power loop closure, hand on chest. Slow inhale, long exhale. Repeat. I can understand power without becoming reactive. I can participate without being captured. I remain steady. Field regulated. Power domain integrated. Nash next, Game 37, Economic Extraction Models. In Game 37, we will cover how short-term incentives override long-term stability, why profit concentration increases system fragility, externalized costs, who really pays, growth narratives versus structural sustainability, scarcity framing as control mechanism, debt leverage loops, archetype activation inside economic systems. Core question, when does growth become extraction? And how do we redesign incentive loops without collapsing stability? Rest steady, architect. Game 37 is where systems get very tangible.
Alright, so there you go. In the next episode, it's gonna be another little fun episode. And again, if you'd like to check out the series on Gumroad, one is free and then there are two others. One is a membership and one is more just on the archetypes with expansions and manuscripts. So it's for people who enjoy this kind of content, find it useful and wish to go deeper, and who appreciate the work that goes into it and want to support the work as well with their hard-earned money, because most of us have to work, right, for our money. We don't get shovels of money for pushing one product or the other because we're famous. It's funny, a lot of people accept this from all these influencers, quote unquote, who drive a narrative, make tons of money on that narrative for decades, then they go to the total opposite. No accountability, no any action to actually show with their money, that they mean it, that they made a mistake or something, or like those hijos who, make tons of money with their porn and then try to clean their image because they finally realize that no woman can respect that, because that's not being emancipated. That's actually being a patriarchal hijo, basically. It's not emancipation, sorry to break it to you girls. And then, they go all the opposite. Oh, I'm reformed now, I don't want to do that anymore. But they still profit off of their content. It's so ridiculous to me. It's exactly the same way as most of these power structures work, and those who get suckered into it because they think they're special above people who have real jobs that make a difference, not just in their wallet, but for society, and make a difference in the positive, just so we're clear, because a lot of them do make a difference. Minus, negative. So it's really incredible what people will accept when they're in a state of survival. And others think that it's because they just are not smart enough, but it's really about nervous systems being in distress. So that's why we point out that the word stupid really means stunned, not inferior because of lesser intelligence. And so technically they are so stunned that they cannot see what's going on in front of them. And when we point out those things, usually they double down, because to admit that they followed a con for decades and they gave their money and support is to admit they were wrong. And often it's so tied into the identity that they just can't let go, and they double down in protecting those who have literally taken advantage of their trust. And it's quite a funny thing to watch. It's better to find it humorous than to get angry, because when we get angry, we are the one paying for it. So, no thanks. So, hopefully, people will start looking at the patterns and will start realizing for themselves that none of these individuals will ever, or systems, will have power without the consent of the majority. All the best. See you in the next episode. There is a bird outside. We have many birds here, and they like to come around here a lot. There's lots of seeds, lots of good stuff, and it's pretty cute to watch them. So hopefully you enjoy this, and we'll see